Bonjour, les amis. My name is Amanda. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am a 9th year teacher, and this upcoming year I'll be teaching grade 1 to French Immersion. Today, I wanted to share with you some of the things that I picked up from the dollar store and how I plan on using them. So let's get started. First, I picked up these flowers and I plan on cutting them up. I want them in storytelling tubs, and I'll have another video with me putting those together, but those flowers are for my storytelling tubs. Next, I picked up some wooden letters and clothespins, and my idea for that is to glue the letter onto the clothespin so that when students are doing word work, they can clip the letter onto like a piece of cardstock or onto a pipe cleaner, or if we're out in nature, onto the fence, and they can clip letters wherever we need to. My students loved loose parts this past year. And loose parts, it's really just any random things you can find, and students can use them however they want. Oftentimes we pulled them out during center so that students could make stories, but they also came in pretty handy with math, language arts, lots of uses for them. So one of their favorite things were these decorative gems, and we pulled them out when we had our winter loose parts, but I plan on using some of these in my storytelling tubs, and then I wanted to have some specific for math. And what's great about these two, especially with how school may not be looking, is that these are pretty easy to wash. So when I'm picking up things, I want to make sure that items are easy to clean in general, because like I don't want germs spreading all the time, even like pre-pandemic. So easy to wash, super useful. Another thing that's pretty easy to wash are these ice cubes. I'll just show you. So I have these, which are diamond shaped, and I have cube shaped ones and stars. Oh, there you go. And these I plan on using in sensory tubs. So because I teach grade 1 too, I didn't think that sensory tubs would be something I would be doing. I always thought that was more of like a kindergarten thing. But the more I've been thinking about it, like my program is very play-based. Like one thing I love about teaching in BC is that we don't have set minutes for subjects. So like I know in Ontario, for example, there's like you have to have this many minutes of math instruction and you have to have this many minutes of reading and all that, and there were similar guidelines in Saskatchewan when I was there, but in BC that doesn't happen, which means I get to have more play time and play at all ages. Like even when I taught high school, play is super important. And like little ones, even like, so kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, even into grade 3, they're still working on their fine motor skills. And so one thing I want to improve on is giving them more opportunities to work on their fine motor skills. And fine motor is like the pinching, the pulling, the grabbing, like the little movements, the little muscles. So sensory play I thought would be a great way to work on that. And I wanted to make sure I had enough of these that I could have more individualized opportunities for students to explore the materials, and at the very least, washable. Now, with loose parts, there's always the question of storage. Like, what do I do for storage? And we spend a lot of time outside in nature, and my classroom I like to be calm and just relaxing, to help with behaviors, but also to help with emotions. And I love like greenery that comes from nature. And so what I'm going to show you next isn't really green from nature, but it's leaf shaped. So I was like, yeah, okay, it'll do. So these are little leaf shaped bowls, and I got 4 of them. And these will be handy for holding loose parts. Or if we're going out in nature, I can give students one of these to collect their found objects. I have little baskets and things like that too, but I liked this option because they were leaf shaped, and yeah. So another thing for sensory play is, like, I want to have almost like a dishpan sized tub that I could fill with water or rice or water beads or beans, any like little smaller fine things that kids can get their hands in, and add objects into that. So like those ice cubes, the gems, the flowers even I can throw into sensory play. Like there's so many different things you can do with it, but I also want them to be able to scoop. So I picked up 2 sets of these little scoops. I know there's probably a more technical term for it. Garden tools, it says on the label, garden tools. So I wanted to have these just so they can get in and get messy, you know? So along the lines of sensory play again, and with this I was thinking more so having color sorting as part of the play. So even though we're doing a lot of play, there's a lot of learning that's happening, and so anytime I can sneak in a little extra learning, perfect. So color sorting is another thing another skill that students can practice through sensory play. And so I picked up these little ice cream spoons. I was going to say scoops, ice cream spoons. I know the word. Ice cream spoons, so that they can like pick up like pom-poms or gems and do some color sorting that way. And something a little bit more challenging, because the spoons are smaller, I got 2 sets of these ice cream scoops. So that is something that can be used in sensory play, but also with loose parts. It can be used during our regular playtime as well. And again, easy to clean, which is always a bonus, pandemic or not pandemic. Okay, so I showed you a bit of items for more sensory play, and now I'm going to show you some more specific like loose parts things. And like the loose parts that I like to bring in are more like natural materials, or as natural as I can get. So even though a lot of what I showed you is plastic, my loose parts section of the classroom has a lot of like glass beads, wooden pieces, sticks, like a lot of like nature, natural items. And that's because like I am inspired by like the Reggio Emilia way. And one thing that I've been wanting to get my hands on to have as like a base for students to play with or on top of is mirrors. So I found this tray that is also a mirror. So I thought that was wonderful. And it's like a sturdier plastic frame, like it's not metal. So I definitely appreciate that, because if I'm bringing mirrors into play, I want it to be safe, obviously. So I love adding to my loose parts collection, and because I'm working on storytelling tubs, I wanted to have some of those materials in the tubs specifically. And I'll do another video with me like assembling the tubs and talking through them a bit more, because I think it's a really valuable tool in any classroom, and especially in a language classroom, because this will help build oracy. I digress. Let me just show you what I got. So I picked up some rocks because I feel really bad taking rocks from nature. So I know these must have come from nature though. Anyways, I buy rocks. And so those ones are for my dinosaur and construction storytelling tubs. And then I bought the Black River rocks because these, even though I can include them in my tubs, I like to like paint on them. Like they're really smooth and they make like a great surface for painting like numbers, or you can put like Mod Podge some stickers on and make storytelling rocks. So like rocks have so many purposes in the classroom. Like For the storytelling, yeah, great. You can create math stories with them, so there's like a math element in there as well. You can use them like when you're sliding or when you're like figuring out like sounds and syllables. Sometimes you see people using bingo chips to slide for different sounds and letters. Why not use natural items too? So I got that. And I also got a bunch of these glass stones. So I bought 3 bags of the green, 2 bags of blue, and 2 bags of white. So these are specifically for the storytelling tubs again, but I already have a bunch in my loose parts section of my classroom. Easy to wash, but the green is going to serve more as like a grassy, like bush, tree option in a couple of the environments that I've created in these tubs, and then the blue is for more water. The white is for like the Arctic storytelling tub that I've created. And hot tip, with the white ones, you could also Mod Podge letter stickers onto them. So you can put it on the bottom, and then when you look through the top, you can see them. Doesn't need to be stickers. I'm sure you can just like make some, cut some out. I know everyone's all crazy about their, or not crazy, sorry, a better word. Everyone's all like excited about ways to use their Cricut. You can cut out some letters, Mod Podge them on. One of the storytelling tubs I have is like a garden theme. I picked up some flowers, and I appreciate these flowers because they're not flower stickers. And a lot of what I found are flower stickers, and those, my friends, will just not be a good addition to storytelling tubs. So, got those. Okay, so another thing I wanted to add to both my loose parts and my storytelling tubs, which also gives me the option of having something for individual students to use this year, are these wooden planks. So there's circles, there's four of them in here, and I have 5 packs of them that I picked up, and I already had some. So now I'll have 1 circle per student, and my plan was to paint little like backgrounds for like almost like a play mat. So like some of them I would just like paint like more green, maybe some dots for flowers, or like a beach scene where you have like the natural color of the wood and then some blue for water. And these then each student could get. Another option, which probably might be better than me painting like 24 of these, is like they're not that expensive. They were $1.25 for 4 of them. So I could give 1 to each kid and they can decorate their own, lesser for me, something they can do, and then they get to use it all year as a base for their storytelling individual tubs that they'll get to use. So that's my idea with that. I was really hoping for the hexagon planks, because then you can have like a road on one and then you can twist them and arrange them together. And circle, it's easy for now. Along those lines, I also picked up the rectangular ones, again 4 per, and I only picked up 2 packs of those because the bins that I'm making with the intention of the materials being able to be shared between 4 to 6 students. And there are just some bins where I have specific like storytelling mats that I want to have for them. So that's what those are for. Okay, last thing for now my loose parts area specifically, just because this is not small enough for the bins that I'm planning on making, or that I have been making, are these. I have 2 of these smaller ones and 1 of the larger ones, and they do fit inside each other, and they have these little bits so you can like hang them on the wall. I'm just going to take out the metal bits because they're pretty easy to take out. So I'll take those off, and then I don't know if I'll paint them or not, but just as like a free, not like a free play, but like this can be a house, this can be a farm, this can be, like, it's an open-ended, sorry, that's the word. It's like an open-ended piece that students can choose to use if they're playing loose parts. These I probably won't pull out this year, depending on what our guidelines are with sharing materials, but they will make for some cute decorations while we wait for a vaccine. These next two things, it's for a personal project I'm working on. So I do buy a lot of stuff for the classroom, and to be honest, these will probably end up in the classroom anyways, but they're artist panels. So they're really just pieces of wood that I can paint on. And I have 2 painting projects in mind for these. And my last 2 things are things for students specifically. Like, I know they'll bring in their own do-it-hangs because we put it on our school supply list and I have extras, but I want students, like, knowing that we will likely be back in person, but we'll probably also do distance learning throughout the year. Just like, I wanted to have something that was consistent between like in school and at home, and the do-it-hangs that students are going to be bringing to school are really ones that I like want to keep at school, and I want kids to not always be on the computer when, like, if and when we're online. So I wanted to pick up some extra do-it-hangs for our writing notebook. And when I say notebook, I mean like it's a reference package that I've created for when students are doing writing, then they have like key vocabulary and like transition words and all that jazz. So the dollar store had packs of 10 like already packed together. So I picked up 3 of those because I figure, you know what, like, it's pretty cheap. They're already packaged together. They're all the exact same and I need them to be the same. And then I have ones that students can use at home. They have ones that they will keep at school, and they'll both be black, and so they'll match that way. And then they can have a copy of like our writing guide at school and at home, not on the computer. So it's access like to everyone. And finally, these. So these are courier bags, and they have this pocket in the front where, like, what I did is I pulled it out and put an index card with the student's name on it, and this was their take-home reading bag. And these things, like, they stood up all year, and they'll probably like pass the test for all of next year too. They're like a vinyl material, so easy to clean. And the only reason I bought more is because we went virtual in March, and then we were back in person in June. Not everyone came back in June, and so not all of these were returned. So I had to pick up some replacements, and I know I can like bother the kids in the fall when I see them again to get them back, but they're like $1 each. So I was like, you know what? Let's pick up some new ones, pick up some extra, good to go. Okay, and that is everything. I know it's a lot that I got, and it's stuff that will last a while and stuff that I already know exactly how I'm going to use it. There are many things I bought from the store before that I haven't ever used, and things that I did use and did not like, but these I'm good with. Okay, so that's all I have for you for now. I definitely have some crafting in my future and some storytelling tub assembly, and I'll definitely share about that later. Thank you so much for dropping by and looking at how I irresponsibly spend my own money. It's the teacher life, you know. So with that, thank you again, and we'll see you next time. À la prochaine!
Goodbye.